My faith story starts when I was 7 years old and accepted Jesus as my Savior at our church's Vacation Bible School. My family had recently made a cross-country move from Oklahoma to upstate New York. After finishing college in Austin, I moved to Dallas to start my first teaching job. One of my students invited me to go to her church. It was a spiritual oasis for me. The summer after I moved to Dallas, the singles department was going on a mission trip to Colorado. That very trip was where I met two of my closest friends. In fact, one of them later became my husband, John. John and I became great friends, and we officially started dating about a year after we met. He was a deep man of faith with a quiet spirit that I really admired. Not long before John and I got married, one of my mentors asked me if I would pray about being involved on the leadership team of a new ministry that our church was starting. It was called Stephen Ministry. Stephen ministers walk alongside people who would benefit having somebody encourage them and minister to them through a difficult life circumstance. After a week of intensive training, I became the training coordinator for our church's Stephen Ministry. I learned so many practical tools through the training that would be beneficial to any Christian. How to listen reflectively, how to communicate more like Jesus, and to have healthy boundaries are just a few of the topics in the training. After serving in Stephen Ministry for several years, my own life experiences warranted the care of a Stephen minister. I was 4 months pregnant with my first child, still adjusting to a new job and a recent move, when suddenly my dad died of heart-related complications. My world was rocked. I was the biggest daddy's girl, and he was my cheerleader. Not only was my father and cheerleader gone, but my dad would not be able to hold his first grandchild. In the midst of the sudden fog and pain of my grief, I realized I needed a Stephen minister. Her voice comforted me as she said she would pray for me. And pray for me she did, right over the phone. She listened to my heart and didn't judge my thoughts. She helped me process my feelings and pointed me to God, who was and is the true cure giver. A few years ago, the Lord deepened my family's dependence on Him once again. After several months of looking for a job, my husband was offered a position in Minnesota. That didn't make sense to us. Moving would require us to leave all of our family and friends. After much prayer and seeking the Lord, our family stepped out in faith and moved to Minnesota. It wasn't easy, but the Lord was so faithful along the way. We have a sign above the door of our home that says, "The will of God will not take you where the grace of God will not protect you." We really love it here in Minnesota. We found a wonderful church home in Calvary, and our children are thriving in Fusion and Summit. A little over 2 years ago, when we came to join the church, I was asked about my involvement in Stephen Ministry at my former church. From the time we moved, I wondered if God would ever use me in Stephen Ministry again. This past year, Ben Tyvel, Mike Graham, Jessica Miller, and I recruited and trained our first class of Calvary Stephen ministers. I have no doubt that this will help Calvary become an even more caring and compassionate church body.